We are going to break down real quick the Mueller Report and kind of what it's found.
Yeah.
So Mueller obviously has launched this investigation on President Trump and his campaign for the last 2 years, starting in December of 2016, of alleged Russian collusion in the election campaign and to help him get elected. So what the alleged collusion was Trump campaign through either Paul Manafort, Steve Bannon, one of his political campaign advisors, maybe even his son, Don Jr., met with Russian leaders, Russian agents to say, hey, could you hack into the Clinton servers, the DNC servers, get dirt on Hillary Clinton, get dirt on the Obama administration, get dirt on the DNC itself, so to help us in the campaign. Yeah. Could you also influence social media by means of Twitter, Facebook, launching these bot attacks, and on Twitter with 40,000 bots, liking a message of Donald Trump gets trending. It's called trending farms. Mm-hmm. Basically, you create all these accounts, you like one thing, then Donald Trump gets trending, or a right-wing account gets trending, etc. Did the Trump campaign collude with those organizations, or were they independent? If they were independent, then obviously that's a problem with national security. But if they did collude, that breaks all these ethical violations as well as international legal regulations as well. Mueller submitted his report Friday of last week, a week ago, and found no collusion whatsoever. So this whole 2-year kind of hunt, I won't say witch hunt because that sounds politically biased, but this whole hunt for the last 2 years has been nullified.
Yeah.
So Trump is in the clear. There is no collusion.
Yep.
This is a big thing for the Trump campaign, big thing for Republicans who backed Trump.
Yeah.
Because you have people like Jeff Flake, Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, Rob Portman from Ohio that basically said, oh, he is guilty. They were trying to hang on and be the ones that say, well, once he goes down, we're going to be the ones that take up the reins of the Republican Party and return the party to its tradition, not the traditionalist, but its moderate core, not the populist core. They look like they have egg in their face right now. So did the Democrats. Democrats thought this would be their great Waterloo. Or sorry, not their Waterloo. They thought this would be their great victory. What it's turned into, just like the Kavanaugh hearings, is it's turned into their Waterloo. Basically, they set out saying, we are going to win this. This is an undeniable victory. And they end up losing horribly. Actually, I mean, this was something they've ran, and I don't believe, at least I won't espouse that I buy into the whole Democratic media with CNN and MSNBC, but certainly those two media outlets have been espousing this whole time that the Trump campaign has colluded, and people have bought into that. People are like, oh no, where there's smoke, there's fire. If you say it enough times, it becomes true. Those are exactly what we've seen. Yeah. And now they both the more liberal media, left-wing media, as well as the Democrat Party, look horrible. Because they now have said for the longest time, American people, we know there is collusion. There has to be collusion. There's no way he could have beaten Hillary Clinton. He is such a horrible candidate, etc. Well, no, there's no collusion.
Yeah. That's a great thing, too. Like, for the past 3 years, I've noticed that, too, with late-night talk show hosts. Their monologues always Trump, making fun of Trump.
Yep.
Media outlets, like you said,
right.
And that's basically because it's on the premise of he's not really like the president. It was illegitimate, right. And now he gained his legitimacy.
Right. He has now so much political clout and political capital because this was the only thing holding him back. Everyone was weary of 2020 because of the Russian investigation. Like, well, I mean, even members of my own family who are on the Trump train, but certainly were like, 2020 is going to be rough. Now we're like, oh no, he's got this in the bag. And I really think he does have this in the bag in 2020. He can now focus on policy, and now will be a traditional political campaign. No mudslinging. He'll be on, do you like supply side tax cuts? Do you like deregulation? Do you like free market healthcare with no personal incentive and stuff like that? Attacking the policies as opposed to the person.
Yeah.
Now, I was speaking to someone who at BC who was a Trump person, and he was saying, oh, well, I think he said, yeah, I believe there probably was something, and he said it was probably Paul Manafort. And I would agree with that. I think that Paul Manafort, we've always known Paul Manafort ever since 1990s, that he was a sketchy guy. He funneled money to certain campaigns. He did really sketchy stuff. So he probably was the guy, if anything, that did probably connect with Russia. Obviously, that was not found in the Mueller report. But probably President Trump found out about that, then campaigned Trump and said, no, you're gone. Because we all forget Paul Manafort was fired halfway through the campaign. We don't know why, but he was fired. Was it because Trump found out, hey, you have sketchy dealings with Russia? No, we can't have that. We have to keep everything above board, and we have to keep everything legal. And if that's the case, that only solidifies his sense of a kind of a character, which many people have always tried to assault. Always stands for family values. Yet is he much of a family man? That's a lot of complaints is from Catholics, at least. He's not much of a family man. So no, this was a big week for Republicans, big week for conservatives, big week for the right wing, and big week for President Trump. Kind of everything he embodies. Those things I mentioned is kind of like where he's at. So he's now employed a team to go after. We're going to now attack healthcare. We're going to attack trade with China. He's going to go back to what he campaigned on. The wall is going to be built. The Dems could not overturn his veto of their blocking of his executive order, so the wall's going to be built. So all of this stuff is coming to fruition. Democrats, this could be very problemsome for Democrats in the next 10 years. And I say 10 years because I don't know how you recover from a horrible loss like this. If you're thinking from a very educated, more liberal mindset, you're like, well, how could a person like Trump, who swears, who says stupid things, who kind of embodies like the hillbilly right kind of thing, they're thinking from a liberal perspective, how could he possibly win? We could easily beat this guy. We just have to show the American people we are the educated party, we are the calm party, we are not the hot button populist party. And I think they lost that, which is sad because if I was a Democratic strategist, I'd be like, holy shit, we just lost against a guy who probably would have been the easiest target 20 years ago. Now we've lost.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh was a blunder. The Mueller report was a blunder. Obviously, it's not done yet. William Barr, the Attorney General, has to submit the report to Congress so they can come over it.
And it goes public in April.
Public in April. So, but it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. I think 2020 is looking very solid for President Trump.
Well, he can now do what he wants to. He could always do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But now he won't get the backlash. I guess it took him 3 years, but yeah.
Well, he always had Russia hanging over his head. So notice in, I think, 2017, there was so much anti-Russia legislation he had to pass through. He had to. Because if he said, no, I'm blocking this, they're like, oh, see, now you're colluding with Russia. You have Putin in your back pocket. So he was caught there. He was pigeonholed in those regards. So now he's free to kind of do what he wants. And to be honest, I don't see why we have to make enemies of every single nation. This is kind of the paleo-conservative coming out in me. Why do we have to be enemies with Putin, with Germany, with Latin America? Why do we always have to create enemies? Why can't we just go along to get along and say, you know what, we're not going to pursue perpetual war for perpetual peace. We're going to go forward and say, Russia may be violating democratic stuff that we stand for, and we'll help them correct that. Being somewhat authoritarian, being this. But why do we always have to go to war with them? Why do we always have to create a cold war with them? And I think he can really solidify and say, no, we are going to heal relations between us and Russia, like he said in the campaign. That's what kind of pressed people to say, wow, he must be colluding. Or is he just trying to say, no, why do we fight all these wars with these people? Why do we need enemies all the time?
Yeah.
And that's just my paleo-conservative coming out. So no, it's a good week for them. 2020, I would say it's Beto O'Rourke on the Democratic side against President Trump. Beto O'Rourke ran in Texas in 2018 for senator against Ted Cruz. Almost beat Ted Cruz, which would have been an absolute coup. Got the Hispanic vote, got the young vote, got the left-wing vote, and got the liberal vote. So he's kind of like an Obama 2.0, except Obama won senatorship. He didn't lose it. But, Beto O'Rourke, solid speaker, lack of, not influence, but lack of experience. No experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem. But when you have a party that can't agree on one thing called the Green New Deal, no one voted for that. Yeah. All Democrats voted present. I don't see how you can reunite the party and say we stand for environmentalism, classical liberalism with freedom of individualism. Economically we're for helping people out to self-actualize, not free market. I don't know how you get all those types of people together. Yeah. So it'll be difficult for him. I think Trump has it in the bag as of right now, unless something big comes out. Who knows? 2 weeks is a lifetime in politics, so obviously 2 years is a lifetime, is an eternity. So, yeah.